tapped into the power of video to spread your message and to be able to attract more of your ideal clients? You know, a lot of us see great videos out there all the time, but if you're not actively doing video, stay tuned. This is going to be a powerful episode for you. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson Strick, and I'm a business optimizer and a profit strategist for visionary entrepreneurs and thought leaders and people with a big message they want to get out in the world. And each week on Power Up Podcast, I'm interviewing someone who has a strategy or a tip or maybe even a journey that we can learn from to help us be able to get better results in our business. So today I'm going to bring on a new friend of mine, Owen Hemsath. I hope I said that right. Hemsath. Now, Owen has built a global business from a simple YouTube channel. He is a well-respected expert on topics related to YouTube, Facebook, video ads, website design, and video marketing. And recently, a good friend of mine, Mari Smith, introduced us and told me that Owen would be perfect for this project I'm working on. And as I got into this great conversation with Owen, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to come onto the podcast and share all these amazing nuggets of wisdom around video and marketing. And oh, and if I can just brag on you for a minute, you've been working with some really great people to help them channel their message into sound bites on video that are getting some great traction. And I love this for today. And thank you so much for agreeing to be here, because a lot of people, even if they are doing video, their videos maybe aren't that effective. And maybe they're putting a lot of time and energy into them, but the video is just not popping. It's not getting traction. And so we're going to talk about how to get people psyched up and in the right space to create their most powerful videos yet. Yes? So welcome and thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me. I'm, thrilled, stoked, and honored to be here. Anytime my name is in a sentence with Mari Smith, I think is a good thing. So I strive to emulate those experiences. And you and I seem to be kind of coming from the same place in a lot of areas. And I've really enjoyed our synergy, since we've been on the line. So it's fun to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Well, Owen, I know, like many people, there's a journey that gets you to where you are today. Maybe you could start by just sharing with us, how did you get to the point where you've launched a YouTube channel that just takes off and this becomes the journey for you?
It's a crazy story. I could sum it up in 2 words: Judge Judy.
Oh, now
a lot of people they think, Judge Judy, what, how on earth does that happen? But I was in a long distance relationship. It ended sort of badly, or not long-term relationship. It ended sort of badly. And I was approached by the Judge Judy people to come on the show. They said, hey, would you be willing to air all your dirty laundry on national TV? And I said, how much will you pay me? After a few negotiations, we decided to go on the air to break up on national TV. And what I saw there, walking into this studio, it's this large hangar and it's concrete and it's empty and it's like, hello, hello, hello. There's like this wall in the center, and you walk to this wall, and the moment you walk in, you are transformed. You are transported immediately into this Judge Judy courtroom. And the reality of where I was sort of changed. And my whole demeanor changed. And I realized I'm not just on TV. I'm in a courthouse here. And that sort of began the journey. So we went on the episode. It was incredibly embarrassing. And those of you that reach out to me personally, I will share it with you. But I will do it privately.
Okay.
It's on YouTube, and I put it on YouTube. And what happened was I got my Facebook page went off. Just new friend requests from girls that were like, hey, you're really cute. I saw you on Judge Judy. And then from dudes who were like, hey, you're really cute. I saw you on Judge Judy. And I found out that there's video and broadcasting are life-changing, revolutionary forces. And I challenged myself to duplicate that success through my own channels. That's what began the journey for me when it comes down to the video and the marketing side. So it's an untraditional story, but I think one that's certainly worth telling.
It's funny, as I got approached by them too when I had I actually had a court situation many years ago, and they did approach me, and I don't think I ever did it. I don't think I went there, but oh my God, I love
Yeah.
that story. And you know, I have to go look up your video on Judge Judy as soon as we're done.
And please do. It's not like it's bad. Like she rakes me across the coals. But, you know, it was all in good fun,
Yeah.
and it changed my life because I had been in marketing for a long time, and my dad bought us a VHS camcorder when I was 8 years old. So since I was 8, I had a camcorder in my hand. I was always doing video. I got into sales for the commission. And then around my, 30 years old, that kind of collided into this one course where I'm doing video and marketing, and Judge Judy was the gasoline, like the spark that's.
I love it. You know, and I think everybody who creates some kind of significant impact on the world through their business, there is that catalyst moment, and sometimes it's completely unrelated to anything else that matters to you. But there's that pivot moment where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going for it. So I love that story. So as we were kind of talking about what we were going to share on today's episode, you were mentioning, there's so many different directions we can talk about video and marketing and all the different technologies out there. But then you mentioned that there's a psychology that happens. There's a whole thing that's going on in the mindset. And I truly believe that our mindset is always working to dictate the level of success that we have or don't have.
Yes.
And so I want you to talk about, what do you mean when you say there's a psychology behind how we show up on video, and that we have to really master that to get great results through video?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, because so many times what we want to talk about is, how do I get my YouTube video ranked? And how do I become the next big YouTube sensation, right? I'm a YouTube marketing specialist. This is what I do. These are the calls that I receive on a daily basis. And we're able to provide solutions to these challenges. But here's the real thing is, are you prepared to eloquently communicate your message in front of a digital eyeball? Mm-hmm. This is what we don't really think about. I mean, even you and I, we're looking at each other through this video medium, but what I'm looking at is a little eyeball and a green light blinking at me. Are you prepared to deliver your message through that? Are you prepared when there's 3 different lights on you, a green screen behind you, to point to the subscribe button that will appear in post-production, right? Are you prepared to go off script if the teleprompter starts or hiccups, because you know your content so well, it doesn't really matter what's on the teleprompter? There are all these things that sort of come into play in that one moment where you've got to produce this video or lose the investment it took to get you there, right? So we want to talk about the types of people that do video and where you need to be as a person when you're doing video. Marie Forleo has one of the most amazing YouTube channels on the network. Brendan Burchard, who is an executive level coach, amazing when it comes to their ability to communicate. So we want to work with our clients in their messaging, right? Have you said, what's your value proposition? And have you said it enough times to where it's a part of who you are? These are some of the psychological roadblocks that get in the way, because I think we all kind of think about doing video and then we get that image of the deer in the headlights, and it's like, it's action. And
okay, now what?
Yeah. What was I supposed to do? So there's a lot that goes into preparing your mind and your body to behave on camera. These are things that I've been interested in since I was a child. I majored in media when I went to school, and so I've worked in television. I've worked as a producer, and I like to really get with you, on those types of things, because it's not about your freckle. It's not about the gap between your teeth. It's about the message you're communicating, and are you communicating it to like a buyer persona? Or are you just kind of like talking to everybody and hoping that somebody will buy from you, right? Those are the things that people get hung up on, and those are the things that really don't matter.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Getting yourself in the right frame of mind is one of the best ways you can prepare for any kind of performance, right? Yeah. But when you're capturing on video and you're not going to have that ability to interact beyond that video moment, you've got to make sure what's being captured and what's being shared really connects people to you.
This is why video is elite. Okay, so we talk about video is an elite form of marketing. Not everyone can do it. Now, there are varying levels of artistic talent. So when you're on Instagram or Pinterest, there are varying levels of infographic, but anybody can outsource an infographic, right? And anybody can go to PowerPoint and make an infographic. Video is not this way.
Okay.
Video sets you apart from your competition because it's a three-part system. You've got pre-production, production, and then post-production, the optimization, the marketing side of things. Not everybody can do this. That's why we see all these brands and businesses dumping their content on YouTube and then wondering why it's not producing their desired effect. They go, video doesn't work. When in reality, it's you didn't work your video. You have to love what you do, and you have to love your audience enough to shake them wildly and say, you need to listen to this because what I have to say is going to better your life. Now, Brendan Burchard did that by doing a series of black and white videos. He took a different approach to shake his audience and wake them up. I took a similar approach. I wore, a graphic T-shirt and a vest so that I would attract. I'd be kind of like the hip guy in internet marketing, right? This is when I very, very first started back in 2011, something like that. So you have to be in a place in your life and your career where you have the confidence to say, I'm going to get through this and it's going to be awesome because I know my content so well, it's a part of me. Right? Otherwise, when you, it's disappointing. It's disappointing when we have a studio and a lot of days we'll have these big kind of group call. Hey, come in, shoot your videos. We got nothing scheduled today. Just come on and do it. And they'll say, well, what do I say now? And it's kind of like, man, you've been in business for 20 years. I don't know what to tell you how to say. I just need you to bring your passion to the camera and I'm going to help extract the best you out of you that I can.
Yeah, it's so valuable to have someone do that for you because if you don't know how to put your best foot forward on video and someone can pull it out of you, it really takes a lot of those fear barriers down. So, okay, so Owen, let's say someone knows that they want to start doing video. Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. We got to go somewhere first.
Okay.
How's that thought? I want to go back to something.
Yeah.
I was realizing that there's actually different ways that you can tap into video.
Yeah.
And you have to know, like you were saying, not everybody's capable of doing elite video marketing, but there's a lot of ways you can use video. And we're doing one of them right here, right? I discovered about myself that I do a much better job. I feel much more confident. And I truly love and am inspired by doing these collaborative conversations and doing them on video. And it's a form of video marketing.
Yeah.
But I don't feel as good, and I've never really loved doing just a video of me. That's why I'm not a Periscope fan. That's why I don't do Periscope, right?
Sure.
So, is there a way that you can help people understand how they can sync up authentically with the right kind of video for them and their psychology and where they're at right now?
I really appreciate that question too, and that goes down to knowing who you are. And I'm telling you, video is such a personal development thing. Like the person that you become after watching yourself on video, right? So I'm looking at you, Melanie, on Zoom, but I'm also looking at my face and I can see the glare coming from here. I can see how my forehead's kind of shiny, and I have to stop worrying about those things while I'm staring at myself to get to my core message, right? Which is authenticity. In fact, my core message is unmistakably proud authenticity, which is you in your full you-ness, being out there, of course, censored and tailored just slightly so that people can absorb the message. You've got to be able to power through that. Now, some of the biggest challenges that we go through is like when you're looking at your face and you're seeing some of those imperfections and then the other voices start coming into your head. You've got to be prepared for that. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses is the first part, right? Are you going to be thrown off by the mole that you hate or your crooked eye? I have one of my dear clients lost an eye to cancer. She covers her hair, and so she doesn't want to do video. So what have we done to work with her? Well, we do presenter videos, right? Which is essentially a PowerPoint with her best image of her, and some text on the side.
Right.
It's like we did the whole thing in PowerPoint. We did the whole thing in PowerPoint. So we don't even have to use your face, but by using her voice, we're still able to communicate that passion without focusing on her insecurities. Another part of that is the collaborative model, doing a blab, and that is a pre-recorded thing. Now, I never recommend doing something on one platform and dumping it on YouTube, right? I do a bunch of stuff on Snapchat and then I dump it on YouTube. Nobody wants to see that, right? They want to see Snapchat on Snapchat and YouTube on YouTube. So do the blab, but then edit it creatively, just simply, if nothing else, and get it so that it's YouTube ready. You can take advantage of video in 1,000 different ways. The question is this: is your message developed enough to be effective visually? Right? Now, I think everyone can be effective with video marketing, but you've got to come to the table with the vision for how you see yourself on camera. Do you see yourself in front of a green screen? Right? And we can put anything back there. And maybe you're doing like a news show. Do you see yourself at a desk? What's your background going to look like? So I often have my clients close their eyes and I say, okay, now you're in your YouTube channel. I'm a qualified client. I'm watching your video. What do you see? Right? And that's how we determine, are you going to wear a tie or, not? Are you going to wear a jacket or not? And these are things that don't really get thought about. We kind of get some of these agencies that come up to us and they're like, hey, we need 50 videos, go. And it's kind of like, I'm like that artist and gets the commission and, and it says, hey, make me an artwork of this, and it's kind of like, I'd love to. We're going to crank that out for you, sir. But I do need to know a little bit about the product and the service, because video is not a heartless beast. Video is all about what scientists call a parasocial relationship. Okay, it's a one-way relationship where your audience is actually looking in your eyes and listening to you speak and calming down when you calm down and getting excited when you get excited. They feel like they know you. I've got a client in Arizona who watched maybe 3 hours of my videos. My videos are about 10 minutes a piece. So he geeked out on my channel and he calls me and he's telling me, my whole family, they call you Owen because you're on the smart TV all weekend. You've been on the smart TV. My arrangement with him, he just signed a 1-year agreement with us. It wasn't ever about the pricing. It was more about like what our specific strategy is going to be. He came to that conversation already knowing me, trusting me, liking me. And it was just about how I can serve him. That's what video is going to do for you. So you have to respect your audience more than just slapping up a few videos.
What if achieving higher levels of success was more about changing your thoughts than it was about changing your strategies? Hi, it's Melanie Benson Strick, and I've got a quick resource for you. I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Rewired for Wealth. And inside this book, I'm going to teach you what I personally learned about how my thoughts were either sabotaging or setting me up to create success and put it on autopilot. Now, this book is free for a limited time. You can grab it now at rewiredforwealth.com. Now, let's get back to our program.
So here's what I took from what you just said is that, when we do videos right, and one of the ways you help people do that is to really create video that's going to connect most to your ideal client.
Yes.
And that ideal client has consumed whatever you've created for them. They're already sold on the idea of working with you. It's just hammering out the details and figuring out the win.
Yes.
And so when you've done video well, that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
And from our perspective, we are a revenue first company. So our objective is to use video to build your revenue. I want you to establish a ratio where if you put $1,000 a month into YouTube marketing, that you're going to get a $5,000 return on that, right? That's our objective. That being said, the strategy is how we accomplish the objective. So how are we best going to communicate and develop an audience that's at the caliber you want to serve, right? We've all been in a place where we've had clients that we thought, that's not a great client fit for me. I really need to be working with somebody who's at a higher income level, a lower income level, or somewhere in between. What video does is it gives you the opportunity to implement the law of magnetism, right? To attract who you are, as John C. Maxwell said in his book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, right? Be who you want to attract. That meant for me that even though I enjoyed being in graphic tees of obscure cartoons no one's heard of, I did move to wearing a jacket and a collar on my live streams because I wanted to attract that audience. That's what you've got to think about. And I think of it as respect. You have to respect your audience enough to know them, show them you know them versus telling them, I know all the demands of a business coach in this marketplace and social media is da, 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 da. I would rather that you show them that you know them by showing them software that you use and communicating frustrations that they're having if they're like you. And that's how you develop an audience of clients, but also these super fans that, I have clients that have been with me for a long time, and they're part of my executive group and they pay their bills every single month and they're there to be a part of the energy that's happening in our video marketing circles. And that's what you can expect when you get into video marketing is discovering a new part of yourself that probably needs to break free, right? If you're at a place right now where you're thinking I need to do video or I want to do video, there's a little piece in you that needs to be developed and set free. And video does that in a way that no other medium today does that. And it's never been more accessible. We all have cameras now. It's phenomenal. I mean, just, I may appear like a young guy. It's all gray, people. Look at that. That is tiger stripe gray. I started when it was standard definition. I remember television deregulating, right? The doors have swung open. It's no longer up to Ed McMahon or American Idol who gets famous and who gets heard. It's up to you and your ability to leverage the medium and to know how to get your message out there.
So there's so many different directions we could go with video marketing and really being able to tap into that. But what I'm kind of curious about is I want to learn a little bit more about you and how you had to get powered up to create this really awesome business that you have and to be able to serve these kind of clients. I like to also kind of dig into, in your trajectory in this video marketing world, what was the biggest challenge that you personally faced getting your business to be successful?
There's a really easy answer, and I'm going to give it to you in sort of a two-step.
It's not Judge Judy again, is it?
No, it's equally as tragic.
Okay.
I had just got started in video market. Well, my channel had just started taking off, right? This is maybe 2 years ago. And I was getting a lot of leads, a lot of business. I was feeling very fit and in shape and healthy and handsome. And went golfing with buddies on a Friday morning, and a golf ball hit me in the face, knocked out 5 of my teeth.
Ooh, ow.
So going from a place where you're very confident in how you look and talk and feel, my S's are forever changed. They do not sound the same. I used to have a gap in my teeth. I no longer have. I liked the gap in my teeth. I don't like the precision of this dental work, and yet grateful that I have teeth. So that was a real challenge for me, and it took 4 months to get everything finished. And then after that, I had a scar on my lip. I was lisping. That was a real challenge, and that was a real setback. Luckily, I had produced my most. What's that? Because I'm on camera, and yes. I can't talk anymore.
Right.
Yes. So thank you. Yeah. And then, so get this then, 6 months after that, I'm back. I'm up again. I'm rolling. I'm doing stuff with Jeffrey Gitomer. I'm flying across the country. And my wife comes home to find me collapsed on the living room floor. Tumor. Thymus cancer. At 35 years old. I keep calling myself 30. But that was the scariest thing I've ever been through. That was in March of 2015, and I thought that my business was done. I thought that we were done. And I sort of, I drink alkaline water. You know what I mean? Like I eat kale.
Yeah.
I'm in the holistic community. My chiropractor is like on speed dial. So I got cancer. How did that happen?
Yeah.
You know? So, the next morning I wake up with resolve. I thank God that I bounce back quickly. And I just had this vision of a seedling popping up through like a nuclear fallout, and I thought, life always wins, right? And I immediately was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. Like I've got to now get stronger, get better, and really set a course for my life here, right? I'm no longer a successful video marketing company. It's like now I'm a growing company. I'm either going to be a freelancer or I'm going to be revolutionary in this business and set records and be the first guy to do a large number of things. I chose that route. So even when they put a port, in my chest here, right, which they're still using to administer chemo, and even though I had a 10-inch scar from having them, rip open my breastbone, pull out the tumor, now I'm in chemo. I lost all my eyebrows. I lost all my hair. My business has grown 107% through that experience.
Wow.
And the reason my business grew is because I got a little sympathy business. I'll be honest. Like some people kind of just like casually threw over like some easy deals to me, right? I'm happy for that. I'm grateful for that. But I buckled down and I got serious about where I wanted my life to go. I asked my wife, when are we done? At what point are we in a place where we are, because we want to be philanthropists. It's like, when are we just serving the community and we're not necessarily working for money anymore? These are questions I had never asked because I was going to live forever. Because I had never been bald and ashamed and broken on my cheap couch, crying my eyes out, wondering what the hell happened, right? That's what chemo does. Chemo gets into your brain, and it's saving your life at the same time destroying your body, and I had to make the decision of what type of person I'm going to be. The type of person that says for the rest of life, well, I gave it a good shot. Or the type of person that says, when I die, I want to slide into the grave like a slip and slide on a wet day going, can I do it one more time? And that's the way I'm going to live my life.
So this is a pretty major thing that not very many people face on their journey as an entrepreneur. But if you are facing, and I do know several people that have cured themselves of cancer and moved on to have really successful businesses again, I got to imagine that you've got to have some self-talk or a mantra or some kind of a way to talk to yourself to keep yourself focused on where you're going instead of where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to, and I get it a lot in the gym. In the gym is where I feel the weakest because I know what I was lifting and what I'm lifting now. Mm-hmm. And I'm still going through radiation, so I haven't even been to the gym in 3 weeks. Mm. But I co-wrote a book on self-talk about a year ago. And at that time, I remember coming at him with the law of act as if, right? You have to act as if you are already that person. The president and founder of IBM said, IBM is going to be a giant company, so we have to act like a giant company from day one, right? I believe in that. But I never actually had to live that, until this thing happened, right? And you don't have to wait for cancer. And for those of you guys that are out there that are dealing with maybe like anorexia, and think, well, that's nothing compared to his cancer. Or maybe you've got some other thing. You've got lupus, and you're thinking, well, it's nothing like his cancer. Don't compare yourself to me. We all have our own cancers, right? I'll have a buddy, he's going through a breakup right now. He goes, well, it's nothing like your cancer. And I go, dude, it's your dissolution of your marriage. Like that's a big deal. Don't compare yourself to me. So I don't want you guys out there listening and thinking, oh, well, this guy had it way, way worse. We all have our own worse, right? But it was remembering that life wins every time. That every time life is given a chance to prevail, it will prevail, right? We see this in biology. We see it in astronomy. We see it everywhere. in the physical world. And I believe we see it in the immaterial world as well, the non-physical world, the world of logic and beauty and art, right? We see that life thrives. Even after storms, life thrives even more. So when I'm going through kind of that self-talk moment, and we all have these moments where you're sort of afraid that you're a total fraud and everyone's going to find out, you know what I mean? Like how am I doing this? Like I'm just a kid that went to college late and now I have a global business and people think I'm cool. One day everyone's going to figure out I'm a fraud and it's all going to be over, right? We do this. That's when you have to remember that life wins. That it's up to you to die, right? Life will win though. And if you remember that, for me, it's like life wins, one more, and even if I'm running, life wins just, quarter mile more, and it just gets me to that next place. So, you hear me say that a lot. I believe in it a lot. A lot of times there'll be issues and I go like, you know what? Life wins. It's almost like my wife calls me, what is it, George Costanza's dad? He's like, serenity now,
I love that one. I use that one, by the way.
So it's there. Happy Festivus,
Yeah. I love that, Owen, and thank you for sharing that part of your journey with us because we all have that thing that's our cancer.
Yes.
For me, I have my own health challenges and I've dealt with a lot of chronic fatigue issues and some really complicated, hormone getting out of balance stuff that just kicked my ass.
Yeah.
And you're right. I use a slightly different version of what you're saying, but whatever you're committed to is what wins.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing you say is that you were committed to life. For me, I had to always look at what am I committed to here? Am I committed to feeling like crap or am I committed to feeling amazing and better? And the choices you make in each and every one of those moments is what will carry you towards that goal. And you would be surprised. Oh, and actually, I know you won't be surprised, but maybe as the listener, you might be surprised how many people are committed to failing.
Oh,
how many people are committed to misery? How many people are committed to their drama more than they're committed to the thing they say they want? And it's a great journey to reflect on that and say, what do I really need to be committed to change the situation I'm in right now?
Have you heard, the parable, I guess, of which wolf you feed?
Yes.
Right? You've got an angry wolf and a happy wolf, and it's like, which wolf wins? It's like, well, it's the wolf that you feed. Are you feeding the negativity? I was sitting around with a bunch of guys yesterday for lunch, friends, just old friends, not a work thing at all. And I noticed we all got to complaining about politics. Now, we're all kind of laughing, kind of like, yeah, this about politics. So there was kind of camaraderie in the complaint, but one of my buddies brought up, he's like, we've all been kind of negative for the last few minutes. Let's see if we can't change the tone here. And it was really interesting because I was feeling it too. And I thought we're feeding that wolf. We're feeding that wolf of complaining and we're making him stronger when we should be building each other up. I'm working on that with my kids right now. I have 4 kids. So everything's a contest. Everything's a game. Everything's a mess. But the idea is when Benjamin wins, we're not sad that we lost. We celebrate his win with him. And I urge you to do that. When your competitors are winning, it means your industry is on fire, dude. You know what I mean? Go out there and get some. Be committed to more than just living a life waiting to die, right? Cancer is filled with people waiting to die, and it's sad. I can't even communicate how sad it is to sit there in the room with them and they're like, For me, I don't want to be like, oh, I thank God I survived cancer. It's not good enough. Not only am I going to survive cancer, I'm going to push through and win the Tour de France 7 damn times, Now, I don't care about.
You have such low ambition, Owen.
What's that?
You have such low ambition.
Well, I want, I feel like if you shoot for the stars, you might hit the moon. So I'm going to just kind of live every day. And if I fail by 15% or if I only hit 85% of my goal, it's still a pretty good experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. You said something that I want to circle back to it for a minute. And that's that idea of when you're focused on your competitors, what energy you give that says a lot. And here's something that many people don't know. The minute we go into any form of judgment, whether it's of another person or ourselves, and that means comparison, all of that, this person's doing this bad thing, we're in judgment. And judgment is a constrictor. And the minute you start giving that animal energy, you are now creating constriction, and you cannot prosper. You cannot be in abundance. You cannot grow when you are feeding the animal of constriction.
Yes.
So it's important to remember, like you just said, when you're thinking about your competitors or you're looking at a friend and, you're envious or judgmental or comparing, you are activating constriction.
I love that. And I think it's very, I would call it something different. I think you've actually given phraseology to what I know to be true. And it's so important that people hear that. I mean, just having the flowers in your background and having, a room with light in it. Natural sunlight, right? Go watch the first scene of Joe versus the volcano, right? It's the old movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, right? And it's like this fluorescent light, and he's like, in the very beginning. This is like so much of us are like living our lives for the next football game. Fill your life with those little things. The Jim Carrey speech was awesome. Is that he says, my dad could have been a world famous comedian, but didn't believe that was available to him. You have to believe that the people who have the most in this world are not much smarter than you, if at all, right? So go out and get it. And when you get it, I love giving back. I don't, it's not like we're throwing our money in the streets, but there's always somebody we're supporting or helping to get through something, as so many people donated to us and helped us get through. That has brought my life so much joy and meaning to serve others on a personal level, that it's changed who I am as a person. It's changed my life goals, and I'm excited about that.
So, Owen, there's one thing that I would like to close with today before I get into having you share how to connect with you. But there's just one thing that I think would be really awesome to learn about you, and that is, you're in this place where you've hit personal trauma, you've had massive business triumph, you've got, family, you have a lot of different elements of how your journey has unfolded. But if there was one thing that that you personally learned about creating a successful business that you could share with our listener today, what is that one thing? Like if you do nothing else and you just do this one thing and you really get good at it in your business, it makes everything else contagiously expand, right?
Yeah. Can I give you like a real nuts and bolts answer?
Yeah, absolutely. You give me whatever else you want.
A high converting landing page. This is the element nobody has. Everyone's missing it. Big, large companies have multiple landing pages that are all converting at 8%. You have to phrase your offer you have to create an offer that can be sold online. And you have to communicate that offer on a page where someone can purchase it or opt in for more info, right? If you don't have that, you are wasting every moment of time that you have on the internet. So if you've got a website and you're going to hire a PPC company, but you're not presenting them with a landing page that converts at 25%, you're throwing your money away. They don't care. They're just going to ask you which pages you want to connect to. You're going to give them your product or contact us page, and that's what's going out on the web. Invest your money in creating a landing page. Then invest a little bit more money in using Facebook and YouTube to drive ads to that landing page. Once you really should do 1,000, but if you get 300, you'll start to see that, okay, I'm at like 18, 20%. Get that number to 30%, convert at 30. Once you've done that, you duplicate and scale. It will change your business. You can add everything else later, and anything else that you would say to me as a client that's more important, I would tell you that you're wrong.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, you brought up my favorite conversation, which is optimizing, which we won't go into now because we're almost at the end. But what you just said is everything I believe in. Get one thing working really, really well and optimize it. Make it work better, send more traffic, turn that into your gold mine. And so, Owen, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your high converting landing page that we could share with everybody so they can learn more about you and what that might look like?
Great. I'd say go to thevideospot.net is where we live. And through there, you can access our content, our blog content. We have guest bloggers come onto the site and talk about their experiences with video. And we also have a collection of ebooks. My best converting page, and where I would encourage you all to go, is to attend one of my webinars. My webinars are educational. We, of course, provide access to our courses from there. We have a YouTube marketing course and a Facebook ads course. These are live. It's like going to class almost,
Sure.
like I'm live training. But here's why those convert well. And these convert like 64% is because I don't lead with the webinar, right? You got to have to kind of learn my style a little bit and my philosophy, because I'm not out there trying to get you I don't want you to go viral per se. I would rather that you have a large collection of videos that hit on the key topics and questions that your core audience is asking, and link all those back to a common landing page, right? That's the approach that I would have. That's different than the agency model, right? Most of them charge per video or per hour, so it's different than what we do. You have to learn that about me. When you attend my webinar and you see how I think cut and dry I make this process, you develop some strong workflows, throw in a strategy, and it's math that you have success on YouTube. I think that'll open up the world to you. So get on our mailing list and stay tuned for our next webinar. We do them like at least once a month. Totally free. It's all education based. But I would say, follow me around. I talk about things differently. And that's always been who I was. That's why I didn't do well in school, because I was like, what about the rain? You know what I mean? Like I was that guy. So, but I hope you guys will follow us, and I hope you'll mention this interview, because, this is what can you imagine that this is what we get to do is talk about what we love, and hopefully, start a fire on the way. So I'd love to know who you are and what you do, and learn more about you.
I love it. Thanks, Owen. And thanks so much for listening today. As you've joined Owen and I in this conversation, we don't get to talk to you live, but I would love to hear your thought. Jump on over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. If you don't see Owen's interview right here at the top, you can just put Owen in the keyword search and share this. Like, what are you going to do with video marketing? And was there like an aha moment today that will help you really take action on this or make what you're doing better? Love to hear your thoughts. And again, we'll be back next week with another great guest. Bye. And thanks again, Owen.